Brad, what is happening?
Scott, thank you very much for the intro and surveys. Always a pleasure to see people at the Trade Ideas Q&A webinar. And my goodness, are the premium subscribers going to be happy today, Brad? And I love watching this while I'm talking versus having the slides, because guys, look at this data. First of all, you're going to see a couple of things, but I'm just going to say it's a beautiful piece of after hours market visualization. Like instantly, you know exactly where to look, APP. You can see that in a number of different ways, but its significance relative to its peers is certainly best viewed in race mode, where you can see it just taking it away and up $6 and change compared to everyone else. Looks like they're not even doing anything. That is the advantage of the trade idea system, and all the information that you're going to hear from myself, Brad, Scott, anyone else at Trade Ideas should only be used for educational and informational purposes only, and never be construed as any kind of solicitation or financial advice. If you need financial advice, please consult a registered financial advisor. So what you're seeing here is Brad Williams' beautiful desktop. And Brad, as I mentioned, the premium subscribers are going to be pretty stoked about what they're going to see in our demonstration today. And there's just so much cool stuff to show that we're going to sort of jump right into it the way we have here. This is our software, you guys. It's Trade Ideas Pro. The version's probably going to be made beta pretty soon. And hopefully right away you can see that we're helping people see data in a different way. And if you haven't seen this data, and remember this is post-market data, of course, because the market is closed right now, what you're seeing is the relative movement of stocks versus one another in just a slightly gamified form as cars, because we can relate to that. We can sort of understand what would make that gray car at the top be the leader of a race when it's driving. You're moving faster, making the turns better. And these things resonate with us, and you can see two competing there. So it's an incredibly amazing way to experience the trading world this way. I love it every time I see it, and I've been watching it since its inception. But Brad, maybe you can really get into a little bit of the specific vroom that makes this after hours layout so special for the premium subscribers.
The after hours layout premium subscribers. So I think you're probably directing me to our faster top list that we're
Yes.
introducing.
Correct.
Yeah. So in fact, I do have a small video that I can put up while I'm talking about it here. We did this last time. Let me grab it over here.
Okay. I might have not seen that one myself.
Yeah, we put it together last time. It was our fast top list data. So let me just drag it over.
Yeah.
Because after hours we don't get a lot of market, right? So we recorded this during the regular market session, and it allows us to illustrate the faster top list data that we're introducing. So over on the left-hand side, we have our existing top list data, which updates every 30 seconds. So it is real-time data that's snapshotted every 30 seconds. But what we have over on the right-hand side is we've really souped up our server farm and our data feed so that we can deliver all these unique ideas out to everybody. Because everybody, the thousands of users that we have subscribing to Trade Ideas, they all have different configurations, different filter sets, and they're looking for different stocks. Of course, there might be some overlap, but it's essentially very unique to every user. And so to deliver that out in real time is a challenge. And we've recently made some great enhancements to that server technology to deliver data faster. And a lot of our window components, whether it's our single stock window, whether it's our Brokerage Plus application, or our top list like I'm showing you here. We're even bringing this technology to our real-time stock racing that we were showing earlier. So it's going to be a little bit faster, a little bit smoother, and just really doing some enhancements to that as well.
So right now, whether you're premium or regular subscriber at Trade Ideas, everyone's looking at the data on the left, okay? But very shortly, everyone who's a premium subscriber will automatically get upgraded to this new super duper server farm. And that isn't to say that the data on the left is bad. It's just that again, we're spicing up premium by saying, hey, premium, you're getting a little bit of more of a feed. Brad, wasn't that a good way to express it?
I think that's a good way to say it.
Right, and again, that isn't necessarily to say that, you know, you have to have it that fast. It's just saying that this is a kind of, again, a improvement, and this one improvement is hitting to your premium subscription, which most of you already have. So Brad, let's jump into the product here and it's kind of let maybe.
Yeah, and so you know, we were on this after hours channel because, you know, this is after hours right now, and it's post-market session. Things are happening. Some stocks are reporting earnings and such. I think this stock right here, APP, that we were watching, that moved all the way up past $40, has its earning date today, post-market. So this is a result of them coming out with their earnings, and it's now being digested in the market. You know, obviously there was some very positive reaction to it initially, but there's some pullback. It's still up very significant, you know, $7 from the close. So this is our way of being able to see that market action in real time, even in the post market. So what I'm doing here, I've got my channel bar over on the left. This is our remote control to the market, if you will. This allows you guys to get started right away. So as soon as you subscribe to the software, you can go ahead and start to get value out of it. You can see all these different themes and these different setups that we've created in these different channels. So each channel is its own workspace with a variety of different windows that have all been configured by the professionals at Trade Ideas, highlighting a particular theme or something that's happening within that particular channel. Maybe it's a sector channel, or maybe it's a channel that's focused on racing, or a channel that's focused on our artificial intelligence. We've got all these different examples in here so that you can go ahead and peruse the channels, see exactly what you're looking at in the channels, and see how you could apply it to your own trading style. But
So Brad,
I pulled up our, yep.
You know, as soon as you brought that up, it made me think how important it is to maybe help us, again, since we're kind of going through this, and this is an intro for the other cool stuff that I know you're going to show, but maybe give people an example of what is conservative profit and how we do have these different modes within the AI to help you see, number one, what's working and how you view the data. And for example, in this case, take the only profitable filter off for a second so they can see everything. That's okay. Because in this case, you know, being risk averse, which is what conservative is, right? Seems to have really been the go-to strategy by a long shot. In other words, when you got your profit, take it.
Without question, but I think you have to look at the day in general, the market that we're participating in. And if you look at the flavor of the day, this is the beginning of the market right here today. We ran up, it looked pretty good, and then we did nothing but sell off for the last 2/3 of the day. Correct. So when you're employing a strategy, that strategy could be good for a period of time. It could be good till the end of the day. It could be good for multiple weeks or months. But that everything is dependent upon what's happening in a dynamic situation. So let's just take some examples that were triggered by the AI today. So let's just take this first one right here and take a look. You can see where this blue arrow is pointing to the candle where the signal occurred. So this is where the real-time signal occurred. Everybody comes into this at the beginning of the day without any trades in this particular window. And as the market progresses through the day, depending upon which strategies are employed and how the market is behaving, something will generate, most likely. And so this was one of the strategies or one of the symbols that generated OLO. It did it pretty early in the morning.
Brad, let's be very specific. These are hypothetical entry long or entry short signals that are being generated for you to look at as like, you know, if you're watching Tiger Woods play golf, you know, would you want to imitate that? That's up to you. Do you like that swing? And this is what this is. This is like a technology that knows how to follow risk management mathematical rules, and then is making entries and exits based on our version of card counting for the stock market. Brad, you know, there's always been that beautiful, simple explanation for it.
No, that's true. And we do some great things, though. We put some great overlays and annotations on the chart to really assist you along the way. So we point out when that signal occurs. But as you're following it, you can see we have some gradients in here that highlights where the stop loss, the suggested stop loss is. So if it goes below that point, we don't recommend you staying in that particular trade. We also have profit targets on here as well. And, you know, this one right here didn't quite hit the profit target. It looks like it did. There's a little bit of a bug here, I think, in my version, because it seems like it should have hit the profit target right here, but it didn't. But we put these annotations on here so you can see what your risk is. Everything in here is customizable. So I've configured trade ideas to simulate essentially $5,000 worth of stock for every trade that I'm in. And it knows the price of the stock, and it mathematically accounts for the number of shares that you would need to make up for that $5,000 of that equity position. And so that's how I'm calculating the P&L here. But you can do it just by going to the tools, options, AI trade size, and you can set this up so it's specific to you, your trading style, and your risk management. Maybe you trade a certain amount of dollars per share or per trade like I do. Maybe you trade a certain number of shares per trade. You can put that in there as well. And then we also have a third option that allows you to put a risk-based stop in there, essentially saying that I don't want to lose more than whatever value you put in here. So looking at that stop value or that stop price, it's going to say that if it hits that stop price, for you to lose $100, you need to trade X number of shares. So it really does allow you to customize the way that you trade and the way that you hypothesize in the software. So we did have, I mean, we had 8 trades today, and they were all pretty good. I mean, 6 of them were positive in the conservative mode. You asked me to kind of explain these different conservative, moderate, and aggressive profits. And it's important to understand that when we're optimizing these strategies, so these strategies are all back tested, and they're done through our artificial intelligence engine. The computer is doing all of this. We're not touching it at all at the end of the day. Essentially, it's going through all these strategies and it's optimizing them, refining them, and making them improve so that they back test better. And during that back testing, pardon me?
That's the AI.
The AI, yes. And so while it's doing that, analysis, we have to put in a how long you're going to be in that trade. And so each strategy that we generate through the AI has a time duration that we use for the optimization. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be 15 minutes before the close. So they're all very unique and individual. That is what the conservative profit is. Essentially, it's using that time frame to say that I'm going to get out of this trade if it expires after that 45 minutes or that hour or that 2 hours, whatever that optimization factor is. But then we also have some other algorithms in there, like a profit save, so that Brad, something that goes up will only come back so far before you get out of it.
Brad, I think one of the things that people get confused about artificial intelligence is they think like that the artificial intelligence is actually thinking. And I mean, and to some extent, there's an immense amount of automation, really, is what it is, that it's doing lots of things that would take us a very long time, and it's automating all of that, and mathematically can then say, well, this is more likely to happen, again, based on math, how many times I've seen this before versus this, that, and the other. And we bring that processing power to our premium subscribers, and then we gamify it with this AI by saying, hey, if we were a customer and we were just hypothetically applying, you know, a programmatic way to do it, how would we do it? And this is what you see. That's what these signals are. So this is sort of like our poker bot, or I mean, Brad, right? Or maybe like, again, when you're trying to learn something and you're seeing the pro do it. This is the pro showing you how it's done and what is the strategy that's paying off in terms of you being conservative, moderate, or aggressive. So we thought of all of that because we, again, use this product ourselves, and we wanted to make sure that everyone had that full spectrum of information. You know, some people like to say,
Dan, let me just explain briefly what moderate is, because I explained what conservative is, but moderate is essentially trying to hold that trade until the end of the day. So regardless of whether the optimization time was 2 hours or 1 hour, if we're doing moderate profit, we're trying to hold that to the end of the day. And so you can essentially see by comparing conservative profit to moderate profit, was there follow through? Did the market continue in the direction that it started off in? And in this case, there clearly wasn't follow through. It definitely had a reversal type of pattern. So you're going to find a lot of these strategies really performed well early on in the day. And then as the day progressed, everything kind of petered off. And that's why, as you look at the end result of the day here, conservative was much stronger than if you were in the moderate mode. And that's trying to hold it to the end of the day, would have been a small loss, as opposed to aggressive, which is essentially not taking into consideration any of the stops. So getting in, holding to the end of the day, and it doesn't matter if the stock went down past the stop, you're still hypothesizing that you held it without getting out of it. And so you can see the three different profit modes right there: conservative, moderate, and aggressive. They all kind of indicate something different about the day's trading.
And you have to tell the AI sort of like what to look for, right? That's the thing. You can't just say, hey, we have a trading AI and it's doing everything. The AI looks kind of through your eyes, and we've taught our AI things that we've learned over more than 2 decades trading ourselves, and still trading actively to this day. Brad, sometimes too actively, I blame you. Sometimes. But the point being is, where you're listening to management of a company that doesn't just sell a product, but we use this product and we use it ourselves. We're like the race car driver. We want this thing to win. We use it the way that you see us talking about it. We gamify, and what I mean by game theory is we try to say, well, what would I want if I really wanted to see a signal? What kind of information would I need? How would I be able to interact with this data? And it's sort of always a moving target, including in the conservative mode, Brad. Notice how we have the exit reasons where we're telling you what was the logic. Like, what does that mean? Well, profit save, and there's a yellow bag with a dollar sign means you got out of it and still took money out. That was the logic, is like, hey, I'm up, but I don't like that I haven't moved higher in a while. By the way, that's literally, I'm speaking the algorithm, right? Remember, Brad, we wrote it.
Yeah.
Brad might have forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten. It's critical. You never, the premise behind it is nobody really wants to see a winner turn into a loser. So if you've had the opportunity to have a nice winning trade, it's important to at least lock in a portion of that or close it out in a profitable manner, or at least a zero manner prior to it going negative. So
and
that's
click
the
on the other ones. Click on the other ones so that people can see the similarity in the algorithm. Now this is a short trade, remember? So if you inverted it, you would see almost the exact same thing. See how beautiful trade, boom, just amazing. Then it starts pulling back. It starts going in the opposite direction. So it tells you, hey, maybe this is where you take profits. So
I see what we're doing here, Dan. We're bringing our gradient back down to the exit, and that's a little bug that we need to kind of clean.
Well, Brad, that's why you and I are able to, but it still does, it's not like it looks ugly.
No, of course. I'm just trying to figure it out. So here's another one where we got in. This is a short call. And let me kind of zoom out a little bit so we can get a better perspective. The short call, but it really didn't do anything throughout the whole day, and it just became a moderate winner. It wasn't a big winner, just a moderate winner.
But do you see also, go back to that one for 1 second, Brad. I mean, risk management, I cannot emphasize, like, notice how it, number one, it has the stop price built in there. It's telling you, like, man, if this thing started to reverse that slide move that was there to the left, that's probably not a good sign for it going lower, right? Because look at that move that it's retracing there. That was the violent move down, right, Brad? And if all of a sudden it starts making inroads into that, but the computer's saying, hey, I know it's going to get very volatile up there, but I'm going to give it to that price, 1.71, and then that's it. Just statistically speaking, all bets are off because it might retrace that whole other thing, and then other buyers come in. We've seen this happen thousands of times, and this is just from the human perspective, right? Without the math, Brad.
And it could just be the timing's off, right? It could be a great idea but the timing's off a little bit. But the important thing is that you're around to trade again, and you don't want to take a huge loss. It's just not worth it.
That's right. And so all of this is being done there behind the scenes for you. And we made tremendous strides in improving this information. And I think you're going to see, first of all, really you're witnessing kind of the transformation of trade ideas. We're in the process of creating a product that we believe certainly will have to simply be a must-have, no choice. Because the way that we're going to display the data and the way we're going to have the data communicate to you is going to be only at Trade Ideas, and it's literally going to pop and speak English. You're like James Bond.
This is a really good example right here, where it was another violent break where it really collapsed pretty significantly very quickly, and then throughout the day it just continued to kind of come back a little bit. But if you'll notice, we actually got a timed exit out of this one here, which exited 15 minutes before the close, because that was the optimization time. Essentially, when we fed these instructions to the computers to optimize on a daily basis, we say that I'd like you to optimize this to exit at 12:45 Pacific time. So that would be the scenario. And you can kind of see, let me go back up another one here. I'll go back to this very first one. You can see the gradient has two different shades. There's a darker gradient right here. This is while you were in the conservative mode of the trade. And then the other portion of the gradient, the little lighter portion of the gradient, takes you out to the moderate profit zone. So you can see both profit zones here, the conservative and the moderate. I hope that came through on the screen.
No, it did, Brad. And I also want to say, like, look at the charting, okay? I know lots of people love TradingView, and they're pretty good charts. But charts are really there to do something very simple, basically, which is convey visually something to trigger, hopefully, some sort of action. And we assume that action is happening all the time, lots of different ways. And the specific way that Brad just showed you guys is we have an AI that's statistically, again, like a Vegas card counter, looking for an edge and applying that edge all throughout the day, every single day. That's our premium service that we're demonstrating. We're saying that we're in a process of improving its speed, but there's something else that we're improving. Brad, can we demonstrate that?
Yeah, I'm a mind reader too. Yeah, let's see if we can do it here. Let me go into my test environment. All right, so in the test environment, the one thing that's working, everything's not really working here, but the one thing that's working is our longer term historical AI. And so we've got a couple things that we're going to be doing with the historical AI. I'm just going to show you right now how we've turned it into a real-time mode where we can actually see the profitability currently from historical trades. So let me just do a time frame, and what I'll do is I'll pull in the last, say, 10 days, 2 weeks. That's 10 trading days, 2 weeks of data here into the AI. And what we've done differently here is we have, let me make sure that's working properly. Oh, that's not, so I'm going to bring in this one. So essentially what we've done is we've made it so that the last price is giving us the current last price, and this will give us the ability to see the historical calls, what's the current profitability of those calls. So if I pull up this Tupperware call here, I can see on the daily, let me zoom out a little bit here. So I can see on the daily that the call was made right here. This was my sell, and this is where it currently is. So there was never a moment when this guy here was in the red. So it was a great call. It was really a call for the day, but what we're illustrating here is that a good call for the day really can set you up on a nice, good swing trade with very little risk. So you're playing on the house's money here. And the important thing is that from a risk management perspective, you find some area here where you're willing to lock in your profit. but this guy here is just continuing to move down. And you know, there are a number of stocks like that. You can see it here on the intraday chart. This right here was the sell. Now it was out of the money. It looks like it closed out of the money in the day, but just look at the last few days after that. GH, this was a call that we just had a couple days ago, and it's still continuing to bleed right here. So it does give you a nice perspective on the AI, and it gives you the ability through our history right-click feature to really pull in any number of days back. We allow you to go back up to 3 trading months. So that's 64 trading days, or 3 months rather, 64 trading days. So that's our AI. And so we've got some other things that we're doing to it from a long-term perspective. So we have all of these longer, all of these historical AI trades rather in our database. And we're going to be in this next version of the long-term Holly AI, we're going to be mining those calls by looking at real-time actionable events that are happening right now. Maybe a stock is continuing to make a new high. So we're going to alert you to that information, and we're going to do it in a really nice visual way with chart cards. And I think that'll be really interesting. I think this will be scheduled to be released in about a week and a half, but we are having a test drive coming up this next week. And we usually allow people to log in early on Friday. So this Friday, we allow our test drivers to log in. And at that time, we'll have a new beta available for everybody. It'll have all the good stuff here. It'll have the logos in the single stock window and all the other enhancements that we've been recently making to the software. So I recommend you check out that beta. And then at some point during the test drive, we're going to be releasing long-term Holly AI cards and some of the other features that we've been working on. We've got some great stuff in the charting world. We've been working on comparing symbols. So if you want to have multiple symbols overlaid on the chart, you can do that. You can have your main symbol in a candlestick if you want, and you can have the other ones all in various colored lines. And you can have up to 5 different stocks that you're comparing that to. So that's pretty neat functionality that's going to be coming out here in the next week or so, week and a half. You still there, Dan? I think we may have
Brad,
lost
there was
you.
some construction outside my house, so I had to mute
Sound
myself.
like you're having a party there.
No, you know, construction.
Okay.
No, but I was, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
You just so beautifully about very important things. And that's not even talking about the fact that we're most likely going to change the whole interface. Like, so it's less column oriented and more visual. You guys, we're in the middle of just some amazing innovation, Brad. You hear me?
I hear you.
I'm like Paul Bunyan. Maybe you should finish that so that people can actually hear me and you.
Yeah. So let me go through a few more channels. And guys, if you have any questions for us, I'm up to taking those and maybe demonstrating what you're asking here, because we got about 10 more minutes to talk about this. Let me point out we've got this stocks like this feature on the chart. There's this heart right here. You can quickly add it to one of your favorite stocks. So when you do that, it'll automatically appear in the stocks you like channel and any windows that you have your My Liked symbol list attached to. So you can make any window that you want off of those stocks that you like right here. Essentially, all you do is you just go into the configure, and it's using a symbol list, which is My Liked Personal. So Trade Ideas is phenomenal at scanning the entire universe of stocks, bringing you the ideas of something that's happening right now, giving you an ability to make money off of that. But you can also hone in trade ideas right into your own symbol list or portfolio of stocks, or even multiple symbol lists. This is just one example of it, but you can create any number of different concepts by using the symbol lists. And one of the things that I recommend is going through our different channels. And if you want to advance to the next level of trade ideas configuration and setting up your own windows and strategies, just look what we've done. Like, for instance, go to the explosive winners page, and I've got a variety of different windows. So I've got a couple top lists here. I've got a multi-strategy window, which is a wealth of education, because if you just right-click in that multi-strategy window, go over strategies, you can see all the different strategies that can either be turned on or that are already on in that. And then if you want to see, like, how did you get this unusual volume spike? What did you do to set that up? You can just go into configure and you can see exactly what alerts we applied, what filters we applied to create that strategy. And then you can take anything that you like, through any of the channels, and you can incorporate it into your own custom layout, into your own default layout, so that when you start trade ideas up in the morning, the windows will load up the way that you want to have them load up. We have different environments depending upon how sophisticated you are, or just the way that you want to, move windows around. So I've got a docked environment where we've got everything all in a single container. It's pretty flexible because you can still move windows around and you can set it up in a grid type format. But it allows you to really get customizable with the software in setting it up. But that's the docked format. I've also got other ways to do it. So if I open up just a regular channel bar, not the docked channel bar, it gives me this ability to have free floating windows. And I can open up one of these channels, which is going to open up a variety of different free floating windows. So depending upon your workflow and how you like your windows set up, maybe the docked is for you, maybe the free floating is for you. Free floating is nice because you can have it wrapped around other applications. So maybe your broker, you want to have that up and you can have trade ideas wrapped around it. So different uses for different applications. While I see this smart risk right here, this is something that we populate on the chart if you so choose. It's under properties and the smart risk level right here. But essentially what it's doing is it's looking at that stock at the moment you pulled it up, and it's taking a look at the volatility of the stock. It's looking at the stock's daily range, and it's looking at the stock's relative volume. It uses those three factors to come up with a smart stop of what it thinks is a realistic, reasonable stop if you were to get into that particular stock right now. And then it takes a multiple of that and shows you what that profit target would be and where that would lie on the chart. But if it's not for you and you don't want it, like everything in the software, it's all customizable and you can just get rid of it so that it's not there. We did recently add some font functionality to the single stock window. We do allow you to customize your fonts in the software, but this is a little bit of a different beast. And so we allow you to really kind of toggle between three different sizes right here. And when you have it in the small font, you'll get to 3 columns faster than you would if you had the larger fonts right there. Single stock, super powerful window right here. This guy does so much stuff. So instantly you can get a price of the stock, look at the volume, relative volume, things that are important as you're trading it, and then other data points. So every filter that we have in the software could be brought out into the single stock window so you can see the data point as it affects that stock at this moment in time. But we've also got news right here. So you can click on a story, it'll spawn your browser. Some more detailed stock information, what sector, industry does it reside in, a little bit more about it. If you want to go right to the website of that company, you can do that. The similar is a pretty cool little feature in the single stock because depending upon how you have it set up, whether it's looking at competitors or price action, it's going to find stocks that are similar in the industry group. So for this grocery outlet holding corp, these guys are going to be similar in nature. Now, if I go to the price action, now it's going to be looking at a long-term snapshot of the chart and a short-term snapshot and trying to bring in a stock that's similar in nature. So that's a single stock. We've got these great little feature, these little buy and sell buttons on the chart. This allows me to very quickly, once I've got my system configured the way that I want, I can go ahead and just hit the buy button and say, I'm going to basically put in a stop limit out here. If the stock rises to a certain point, let's say it gets up to this guy right here, I can go ahead and put my buy in so that if it moves up to that point, it'll go ahead and buy it. And if I can zoom out a little bit, it puts my stop in there at the low of the day as well. So I've got my stop in there. Got a little bit of another bug here, but it allows you to instantly put your order out there and your stop because that's how I have it configured. You can also move it around here. So if I want to move it up a little bit, I can do that. If I just want to get rid of it because I made a mistake, I can do that as well. And it'll cancel both my opening order as well as my protective stop that I've got in there. Oh, I think part of it was because I am on the test environment, and that screws me up every time. So now I probably won't be able to cancel the order. That's okay. Let's see what else there is. Let's go to another channel here. Let's go to the Trader's Eye, because this is a pretty unique way of using trade ideas here. Trader's Eye, I said. Here we've got a group of traders on staff at Trade Ideas, and they're curating this list throughout the day. Well, they're curating it at the beginning of the day and showing you the stocks that you should be watching. So it's using a combination of the Trade Ideas technology along with a very smart group of humans that are very experienced in the trading world. No questions, guys? Just yapping and yapping, no questions, but no problem. So in this right here, in every channel or in most of the channels, we've tried to incorporate a race, but it's not just any race. It's a race that's specific to the symbols that are being watched on that channel. It's taking one of the top lists. In this case, it's taking the I top list, and it's using those symbols to enter into a race. And the thing that's really unique here about having a top list and a race next to each other or on the same view is this top list is keeping track of those stocks from the beginning of the day. So when something's up big, it's up big. When it pulls back 1%, it's still up big, and you don't really notice that. But in the middle of a race, when you start that race, everything starts from an equal starting point, like right this moment in time. And so as the time progresses, and you can have different types of races, whether it's looking at a stock that's moving a certain amount, a certain percentage, or whether it's a timed race like we're looking at here. This is just a 30-minute race. So these guys are going to be running for 30 minutes. And it's possible that nobody is pulling back or nobody is gaining ground, but it's all relative to each other. So BTU, regardless of whether it's going up or down, is doing better than HSY. And as this progresses and moves towards the finish line, I'm going to be able to see both on a percentage basis as well as a dollar basis how much it's actually moved since the start of the race. So that's that. I think volume is another thing that I think Trade Ideas does a phenomenal job of measuring and alerting people to. Volume is really a huge catalyst to trading stocks. When there's volume, there's a propensity for the stock to have some continuation. And we measure volume on a variety of different ways. Relative volume is a phenomenal filter. It takes a look at the stock's volume right now and it compares it to the normal volume at this time of the day. I can look at volume on all different time frames, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. So we keep track of all of that data and we can highlight it for you. And all of these top list windows are sortable. So I can see, you know, at any time, this guy here is going to now bring to the top of my window the stocks that have moved the most up over the last 5 minutes on a percentage basis. So just be aware that, you know, price action and volume are two of the components that Trade Ideas does a great job of measuring. And one of the reasons why it does a great job of measuring is because we keep statistical baselines. We keep what's normal for every stock on all different time frames. What's normal volume, what's normal price action. So when something starts to kind of light up and move in an abnormal way, the software is really in a perfect position to deliver you that information. Yeah, so let me go to another channel that we've got here. Let's go to the sector status channel, and this is a channel that uses a bevy of top lists here to deliver some information, some high-level information to you. This top window right here is probably the most important one because it's telling you, it's really your top list of your major sectors right here. So it's telling you, based on this top list right here, that the energy sector was the strongest sector of the day. So on a day that the market was pretty beaten up, this was a shining light in the market. XLU, the utilities, was another one. But if I go down to the bottom here, I can find some of the sectors that didn't do so well. The consumer discretion, the technology sector, you know, those were beaten up pretty good. So we can take this right here, the overall broad swath of the sectors, and then we drill down into those various components here. So if you wanted to see the materials or the technologies, you can drill right into it And whether you're looking at the winners of that group or the losers of that group, it's up to you to be able to drill down in that capacity. And then at the bottom on these top lists, I've got this little bar graph here, and it's letting me know the stocks in this group right here, of all the stocks that make up this particular group. Well, this is the sector group, but of all the stocks that make up the group, it gives you a flavor of how many are positive and how many are negative and how many are positive right here.
So Brad, by the way, I got a moment because construction stopped. There was a great question about how can you do a back test on a strength alert? And I just like that open question because I thought you and I would do that real quick. And by you and I mean probably you, but like do a quick one. It's a great way to finish up this part of the presentation because it's plays to our strength. You know, going and saying, hey, let's create an alert for strength. What would that be? And you and I can say it's something like, I don't know, percentage up alert. This is part of the issue when you have to ask that question, what is the strength? The relative strength. The relative strength is, you know, can be defined in a million different ways because.
So you want us to develop a strategy right now and come up with a different strength alert?
Yeah, but I think we should come up with, you know, with our own on the fly.
Okay. All right. Talk to me, kid.
All right, kid. New alert window. Guys, let's go. Let's go for a ride. Let's go. I like that one right there. So let's look at it real quick.
Well, this is by breaking out on volume, right? So breaking out on volume.
Could it certainly, that certainly is a strength at the time that it happened. So let's look at what that strength looks like.
Sure. Okay. So essentially what we do is we go into the backtest strategy option, which you need to be on an alert window.
Hold on. Move the alert over so ladies and gentlemen can see the chart.
All right.
And let's go down to the history and just go through a couple of pictures and let's show them visually what you can expect from a strength alert.
Okay. So first of all, this is giving me a tremendous amount of alerts, but that's okay. So I'm going to go earlier in the day so we can get some ideas that happened earlier in the day.
This is backtest freestyle.
Okay. So here is a, I don't want, this is the wrong charting that I want here. Hold on.
It's okay, but you have that clock there, buddy. We got the clock.
Okay. So here we had a, killing me. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that.
I can't take it.
I'm going to get rid of that. It's been so long since I used free floating windows.
You're not used to it anymore.
I'm not used to it anymore. So here we had a new high breaking out on volume early in the day, around 7:30. So let's go up a little bit later. Okay, we had another signal right here. Let's go up a little higher. So these are all stocks that have tremendous volume running through them. And I know that from this relative volume column right here. So when you see a number like 15, that's 15 times normal volume. Like a number like 2 is big, so 15 is huge. So I'm just scrolling up.
But hey, let me go back to, hey kid, now let's find out when you, let's go to the open. I want people to visually see what we're showcasing.
Let me go back more then. Okay, we are at the open.
Okay. So we, again, have no idea what's going to happen. These stocks are starting to make a move. Okay, so you can kind of like get an idea of what the flow would have looked like.
Too many trades. Like I would never want to, you know, obviously this is too many trades. Too many trade ideas.
But the open, a lot of people have never even seen it or felt it. And we're kind of showing you, you know what, at the open, it's kind of like the floodgates, right? There's this burst of data that starts to take place, and this is what it looks like. You see big candles, you see lots of.
And the first candle of the day is always generally very high volume. So, you know, more than normal.
So this is so visually, you can kind of understand what you're looking at, okay? Now we're gonna ask the question, Brad, what's the easiest time frame we can say, well, if I saw XCUR at the open, you know, like that alert, and I bought it. Let's say I held it to the end of the day, so from the trade to the end of the close. How would I have done doing this for the last however long? This is how we answer these questions. And it is a beautiful
so we're going to
thing.
start off at the beginning of the market. Again, I'm on the West
How
Coast.
about
So
5 minutes after, because we're, you know, we're not crazy.
All right,
Like,
5 minutes after.
close? Yeah.
Fair enough. And probably not going to trade, not going to initiate a buy all the way up to the
No,
close.
We're gonna do what normal people do. Let's call it like 11 o'clock because we're in the Pacific time zone. I think that's fair.
11 o'clock. All right, so that's our window of opportunity for initiating a trade.
Yep.
Now we're going to tell it how long do we want to hold it. And this is where you have many choices. You can hold it for a short period of time, you know, 5 minutes, 15, an hour, 2 hours. You can hold it to the end of the day, 15 minutes before the end of the day, and you could even hold it for multiple days. So you want to hold it, say, 15 minutes before the close?
Yeah, 15 minutes before the close. So you
Okay.
can potentially.
The next thing.
We're spitballing here because that's how you ask the questions to give the AI work to do.
Well, and that's the first question. Ultimately, there are many questions that you want to ask when setting up and developing a strategy. All right, risk management, the basic thing is, do you want to put in a stop loss? You know, and that's the main thing here. You can also do profit target. I think we'll leave it blank for now.
We're not going to put in a stop loss right now for a specific reason, because this is kind of like in golf, when a golfer bends down, picks up some grass and throws it into the wind. What you're doing is you're testing the waters. If you right away start with a stop loss, well, you're sort of, it's like going with a very small slit in your mask. So you can see a little bit, but not the whole thing. So that's why Brad in this example isn't putting on one in, but that is a form of question asking, right, Brad? I mean, that's how we started. We realized, you know what, first, to really get the right idea, let's see if the statistics just work.
Yeah, it's a good place to start. This last one, we don't need to do anything except determine the time frame. You know, it's, if you have, we could go up here to the end. I think for the purpose of the demo here, just for speed, let's just go to 30, okay. 31. All right, and so this summary just kind of puts it all together for you, lets you know when you can initiate, when you're getting out, stops, how many days you're testing, and then we'll simulate the buy. Now we're crunching all this data. We're delivering it back to we delivered this query back to the servers. The servers are now going through all the data and letting us know if we bought every instance of an alert that was triggered here.
The first time, so you're not buying it a bunch during the day, you're buying the first instance.
Yeah, the first instance, and this is how we would do. We would take $50,000, and after commissions and you know, $1 per trade and a penny per share, after commissions, we're left with $12,000. Probably not a good strategy.
But Brad, what did you quickly learn if you were just, again, not without getting super fancy the way you and I can? What's the first thing that you would do here?
The first thing I learned, it's not a breakout market over the last 30 trading days. So last month and a half, it's not a breakout market.
Right. So what would be a way to capitalize on that then?
Well, I mean, you want to try to short it?
Exactly. Well, let's just see what would happen.
Yeah, so we can do that. We can run it again, and without changing anything, we can just simulate the sell. So we'll keep all the parameters the same. And don't be surprised, it's possible you can lose money on both directions, but it doesn't look like this will be the case here. So it's good to have this information in your back pocket to know that, boy, if you were to short these breakouts, you would have done a heck of a lot better than buying them. And I think you could, you know, look at the broader market over a
absolutely.
Okay,
and by the way, we're going to be improving lots of interesting stuff on the entries, Brad, as I'm watching this. You know, that's for you and I later. But the innovation at Trade Ideas is at all-time highs, and this is the stuff that fuels the system, right? We were able to teach you right now. The teachable moment is we went through a scenario called the breakout and mathematically answered a question: is it a better long or a short? Brad, what was the answer?
Better short.
Okay, see, Brad's answer wasn't like, oh man, but the Fed and no, it was a quick one-word answer, exactly where the mathematics points you. This is how we approach all of our strategies in terms of the AI that Brad demonstrated, except at a much more sophisticated level, but we're showing you the underpinnings. Like, well, you know, the path of least resistance. That doesn't mean you couldn't be caught in one of those ones where there's a peak and then there's a trough, you know, Brad. You know, that can last like for several trades, obviously.
Yeah. So a couple things here. Let me kind of wrap this up and then we'll go back to our presentation because we're kind of running out of time. But I wanted to show a couple things here. So your ability to backtest is critical and you can get a flavor of what's happening in the marketplace. But here, this strategy put out 1,690 trades. That's too many trades, right, for someone to try to execute it. The average winner was 66 cents, average loser was 55 cents. Too close together, right? So you can do better there as well.
Statistical headwinds, though. That's all we were trying to see.
No, totally. But I'm just going to give a little insight into how you can take those statistical headwinds and really take it to the next level and take that strategy and turn it into something that might be more meaningful. So if you like, this is where backtesting, if you do want to participate and take, do the backtesting, then you're going to also want to take your strategies and make them better by using that backtesting. And this optimization tab is really how you do it. And I'll illustrate here with this price, maybe not, let's do time of day because it's a little bit easier. So essentially, whether I'm looking at filters or time of day, we're breaking up the market here. And in this case, I'm breaking up the entry time. So when I can put on a position here. So if the positions I put on between 6:30 and 6:50 had a profit factor of 3. That's the sum total of all the winning trades over losing trades. So that's a good number. A win percentage of 62%, my average dollar win per trade, and my total win. So in this first half hour, that's pretty good. But as the day went on, I was not quite as successful. So after 8:30, initiating trades after 8:30 was really not so good. So I could take this little bit of information and I could run it again and say, instead of 11 o'clock, let's take this guy to 8:30 and let me simulate it again. So we'll do this real quick.
He's uncovering order flow tactics. He's kind of, in a funny way, Brad, you're reverse engineering some algo trading because, they execute in several ways that are known, which is kind of time slice, VWAP, or, whatever magic potion that they've got. But there's always some sort of a timestamp associated to a trade. So it's not like we can see who it is, but we can understand better, right? Because Brad showed you that this is their window of opportunity. They like it between whatever 8 and no further than 8:45 our time. I mean, Brad, isn't that kind of like the simple?
Yeah, that is. And the net result of that, look at this. So this right here, we're both starting out with $50,000. In this original one, I did just under 1,700 trades. But after I made that change where I don't initiate trades after 8:30, now I'm at 1,200 trades. My profit factor went up. My winner to loser ratio is better than it was before. That was just taking my optimization and going to time of day. But when you go to this other filters area, this is where it just becomes a killer because all of the different filters that we have inside of Trade Ideas can be optimized right here. And just like I was doing with time, I can break down the different values of all the different filters. So in this case, we're looking at the 10-day range. So stocks that had a 10-day range between $0 and $10, this is how we did. And you can look at all the different breakdowns right here. Now, I'm not saying that you just cut it off right here, but you can then take this data and you can cycle through all the different filters. And when something stands out to you, you can just make that change instantly. Maybe something like this 2-minute RSI. When the 2-minute RSI is above 95, well, this is not a good scenario. It's much less than the rest of my statistics. So I could just right click here on the window and I can set the max value of my 2-minute RSI. It'll automatically do it for me right here and I can just hit OK. So that's how you can go through your strategy and use the data that we're presenting here in a very graphical, visual way to assist you in adding some filters to the software.
Brad, this reminds me of the gold miners, how they needed some good tools to mine gold when they got out there. And this is the best gold mining, metaphorically speaking, technology, because we designed it just for this purpose. You know, we're showing you events. We're seeing, you can see if those events are statistically valid or are they noisy. And then you can create a strategy around that, as we showed you. And there is no other vendor that can do that. But of course, as Brad was saying, we ran a little bit long, and unfortunately, there's a lot of noise where I am. So Brad, let's finish up. I'm leaving it up to you. You did fantastic, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, sure, Dan. So you guys, we do have a test drive coming up. You can get to it, trade-ideas.com/test drive. It gives you an opportunity, even if you're a subscriber under our standard product, it gives you an opportunity for $11.11 to take the premium version for a try. So pretty much the best $11 you can spend in the market. Stock racing, if you want to know more about it, we've got a page set up for you, trade-ideas.com/stock race. And just some more stock racing fun right there. This is Dan's favorite slide. We have a promo code. Trade Ideas is a software as a service, and you pay by the month or by the year for it. We're breaking it down by the day. You do get a 20% off your first month or your first year, depending on which subscription you take. Do Spring is here, and you'll get that discount. And we do have daily support sessions. So we do have, I don't know if the next slide is Barry's, but we have a trading room, and you can get to that from our homepage. But from that trading room, we have a breakout session at 9 a.m. Pacific time where we go through and we do a daily support session. You can get to it, trade-ideas.com/live. And there's a trading room. So I guess I got it reversed a little bit. But you guys, if you have the opportunity, please check Barry out in the trading room. He's talking about the software, showing you guys what's moving in the marketplace. He's doing live trading. There's a great meritocracy. People are making some great calls in the room. So it's free. Please check it out. We do have a connectivity with Brokerage Plus with Interactive Brokers. Interactive Brokers was our first brokerage connection. You can do automated trading through IB, so you can get to it trade-ideas.com/IBKR. And we also have a free zero commission broker connection created with E-Trade. So you can trade directly through Brokerage Plus, which I didn't really even show you today, but Brokerage Plus is our direct connection to the market. It's also a direct connection to our simulated trading environment. So you can not only see the signals inside of Trade Ideas, but you can execute them either in a live environment or a simulated environment with just a click. So pretty easy to spot a signal and put it into the marketplace. We're very reachable. We're reachable on social media, on YouTube, youtube.com/Trade Ideas. We've got our Twitter accounts, TI Steve G, QuantBot. We need to put Trade Ideas back in here, Dan. So we do have a few Twitter accounts. Some have been canceled, but Facebook is another one. You can reach us by phone. The best way to get a hold of us is either through chat on our website or by sending us an email. So thanks, everybody. Scott, is there anything else that we need to talk about?
I think you covered everything. So the recording will be up later on tonight or tomorrow. You get an email reminder tomorrow with a link to the playlist where you can find it. So thanks, everyone.
Bye.